I get it, girl. It's hot. Oh, Elsa came to join. Spot Jacker, Elsa.
Whew. That is a mess. Only got about 100 yards down and another 200 to go.
If we're putting all this effort out and doing all this fence work, you might as well do it right the first time instead of coming back later. The least favorite ranch work of any rancher or farmer.
The stays, or whatever you call those?
Yep.
That makes it a nightmare.
Yes, it does. What they did here is by saving money and strengthening the fence.
Don't do that to your fence. Just think about the next rancher.
Oh, you biting my fingers. You biting my fingers.
You have come to a problem, but he has the solution.
Start pouring it out. Yeah. Much safer. Quick and heavy though. If a lot of you guys are new to my channel, I need to introduce you to Cole. Cole is a friend of mine. This is Maya, by the way. She's coming to get some love. This is a fake Bison dog. But Cole is a good friend of mine. I lived with and coached and taught with in the same district when I was down in Texas as a coach and teacher. If you guys didn't know, my first 5 years of coaching and teaching started in Plano, Texas. And in that 5 years, I met Cole. We became close friends, roommates, and I've become family friends, very close with them, his brother, and their entire family. Marissa and I have, and they've got some kids that Brooks, will hopefully grow up with and be close to as well. Sorry.
I got her. What do you think, Maya? Did you like it in here?
Cool. Look at that. Look at that.
That's a goose. There is a goose.
So while he was coaching and teaching, Cole would come up and help every now and then on his days off. Sometimes would take days off. He'd come up and he would help me film, and he'd edit the videos because it was so much footage. And then Chandler started coming up as well, our other friend that we met through Cole. So those guys always came when we did the working and handling of the bison every fall and spring. As you know, it is a very stressful time for me to work bison. And so I don't have a lot of hands free when we are working bison. So Cole is out here working to be a ranch hand, gonna be out of the city, here and there, up here in Sulphur, America, hanging out on the bison ranch with me and Maya and the crew and all the herd. Yeah, see how dark she is? She's a lot darker than the rest of them. This is the one we raised right here. She comes up to me, and there's the one Noah brought to us.
Oh!
Got 90 back there.
Gotcha.
They're a little feisty today, aren't they?
They are. That weather.
Weather. They know we need the rain. She always gets kicked to rain. So you may see another face Of course, I'll always be here, but just so you guys know who Cole is and what he's doing. He's gonna help me on doing a lot of stuff. He's gonna drive up from Texas and help me about every 2 weeks or so for a couple of days. We'll find a groove in there somewhere, but he's gonna come up a couple of times a month and do some filming for me while I'm working. And what that does is it really frees me up as far as time that goes into working and filming, because it takes me much longer when I'm working to film and capture everything for you guys. So Cole's gonna be able to help me with that. I'm catching things that I may not normally catch on camera because I'm working or something happened, you know, and Cole's gonna be able to catch a lot of those moments that we all miss, that I may miss and that you miss. So he's gonna be on the camera, he's gonna be behind the camera, so you're gonna see Cole a lot more now. A lot of old farmers kept stuff around, which I'm not an old farmer, but when you keep stuff around, this is where it pays off, basically.
Yeah, it's not hoarding if you put it to use eventually.
Yeah, eventually. I got this from Richard, who built our first quarter-mile stretch fence, 6-wire. On a lot of these low spots where the terrain sort of dips down, he where we set our 2 7/8. We set our 2 7/8 pipe. What he did was he, you know, you drive a 2 7/8 post 5 or 6 feet in the ground, or you set it in 3 foot of concrete. It's meant to hold it down in those low places where the terrain changes. So he did that, and what he did was he put these chain links, he welded chain links to it, to when you stretch the fence and that barbed wire is going up and down, that 2 7/8 holds it still by these little chain links that's welded to them. So it actually holds the barbed wire in place, it keeps it tight, and it keeps it going with the land, with the flow. So if you got a dip or you've got an incline, these chain links hold it together. Pretty smart. And this is old chain link. This is old chain that I found here in the Ponderosa barn. So just like I said, again, didn't have to buy anything new. I'm reusing something. Repurposing.
Just ranching.
Just ranching. Just ranching it.
All right, y'all, I just landed the drone and Dusty is still working on welding some of those chain links and caps on those posts over there on the H-brace. We're gonna stretch this fence on later, and I am on barbed wire duty, getting to roll up all this old fence that we can no longer use. Out with the old and with the new.
Well, I just wrapped up some welding, put some caps on, basically my 2 3/8 downpipe, and then I put the caps on our uprights, where I also welded the chain links on to the 2 7/8 uprights right down here in this lane to keep the wire down. But Cole is down there rolling up the old fence, so he's getting broken with the some ranch work here. The least favorite ranch work of any rancher or farmer is to roll up the barbed wire that you just tore out. So let's go check on Cole. Well, how'd it go?
Yeah, that's
right there.
That is no joke, man.
Get you a forearm workout.
That's good stuff. Sweat's good for you.
Yes.
We got a good break from the weather. It's like only 93 degrees right now.
Only 93.
Hopefully we'll get some of this rain.
Let's go see what you got rolled up.
All right, we gotta cut it.
Is it getting too long for you?
Well,
Once it gets too long,
heavy.
Yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying. It gets way too heavy. You guys probably, when you look at that, you're probably like, well, that's not very much. That's a pretty big roll right there. Yeah, it's a good roll. And we still got a lot
3 times that much to go.
We got a lot more of it scattered out. Yeah. This is the worst part about fencing. There's even more over there. Is when you rip it all out, you got to do something with it. And you can use a tractor and bundle it up and stuff, but it's this is way better than using a tractor. It's a lot cleaner, and when you take it to the recycle, it's a much easier to put on your trailer. So it's just a little bit of extra effort.
I'll tell you what, from first time doing it, remember these are the stays or whatever you call those?
Yep.
That makes it a nightmare.
Yes, it does.
When you're rolling it, it starts kinking it and twisting it. And
don't ask Kevin about stays.
Yeah, don't do that to your fence. Just think about the next rancher.
Well, yeah, no crap. People put it in there. There's not a fence up here, but here's a T-post and there's a T-post. So what they did here is by saving money and strengthening the fence is instead of putting a T-post there and a T-post there, instead of 10 feet apart, they use these stays basically to strengthen your fence, and it replaces a T-post. A lot of people still do it today, and if you do this, I hope we haven't offended you, but some people, instead of using those stays, people started using a cedar post, and basically about, I don't know, 4 feet in height, and they put cedars, and it strengthens your fence. If you're building a brand new fence, you obviously don't need it, but if you've got a fence that you've patched up, it would probably be helpful to put cedar stays in it if that's what you want to do, but that's not something that we do. We just put our T-posts either at 8 or 10 feet apart, and that strengthens your fence.
And I could see how someone do that, save some money, and maybe if you only had goats or smaller livestock, it's not as big of a deal, but
Bison,
cattle, but bison.
you can't go cheap on bison all the time. There's some things you can, but when it comes to fencing, no. And it's basically, if we're putting all this effort out and doing all this fence work, you might as well do it right the first time instead of coming back later and starting over and having to fix what you just worked on. So we're just trying to do the right thing and start off with fresh wire, fresh post, things like that.
Get a little too heavy, just clip it off and start all over.
Keep on going. Cole is basically kind of fallen for the, or has taken appreciation and liking and enjoyment to the ranching side of things and to this whole bison culture thing. So Cole is gonna be on board with us, and he's gonna do a lot of filming for me and helping me edit the videos, do a lot of that sort of thing. So he's gonna also help me actually work. Right now we're pulling this our first line of barbed wire here on this fence, and he's going through and making sure the line is clear and setting the barbed wire as close to the T-post as we stretch it. We'll leave that there. Now,
All right, now that we have unrolled the new spool of barbed wire and Dusty has started to cinch it tight over there, I'm going along and pulling all this loose wire along the fence line down here and making sure that it's tight so that when he does start to use the come along, that it ends up where it's supposed to. And that old chain link earlier that Dusty welded on to these posts, that's what it does. So you just got to go along this whole section and continue to pull it tight. And then I need to get over and get all that kind of stuff out of the way. And then right here, whoop, here we go. Making progress.
make sure that stays in there. We do not want that coming out in the middle of this.
Not at all. And now you can see as I hook it up and pull it tight and Dusty uses the come along, it's gonna hug that fence line much tighter the more he cranks on that come along. There we go. Now, that's what these are for, but we are not going to leave it like that right now, because what can happen is if Dusty is all the way down there and starts using the come along to pull it tight, it's going to keep cranking and cranking, and this little barb is going to get hung up right here. It's only going to stretch this section and create too much tension, and all this isn't going to actually get stretched the right way. So we're going to actually take these off for now until he stretches it, and then we'll put him back in.
Do ya? Okay. So Cole's going down the line, and basically where we stretch the fence, he's taking the barbed wire and setting it up against the T-post so that when we stretch it, there's no hang-ups or anything. We can stretch it to the full potential. Get back in there. Okay. There.
Now that Dusty has tightened it, I'm coming back and sticking it in there for the rest of these. We have come to a problem, but he has the solution. right, so what's this last part after we've kind of stretched it out?
So what I did was, using my pliers, I tightened it up as much as I could, because what you need to pull as much slack as possible from your come along to here. Looks like it's about to pop out. You come along to here, because whatever slack that you have will be put back on your what you just stretched on the wire. So whatever slack you got from here to that, get it as tight as possible, because you want your barbed wire really tight. So that's why whatever you do here matters after you've used your come along for all this. So
Fourth quarter.
yeah, and then, well,
oh, first quarter.
yeah. Yeah, fourth quarter is after putting on all the clips. Then you got her whooped. Good?
Yep.
So you stretch it, and then you're going to release some. And you'll see all the slack. Come in. So slack disappears.
And then just goes into your old one.
And then
The slack just changes.
the slack goes into what you just did.
Yep. Very nice.
So now it's as tight as possible. So now that we've got our line, it's time to drive T-post, now that we've got this line. But in this situation, because we've left a bunch of T-posts, we're gonna have to take the ones out that are flip-flopped, which what I mean by that is, and I know I've already brought this up once, but this one's really bent, but the stud should be facing where the barbed wire is, not that way. There's some down here where they get in a groove where it's every other one that are putting them that way. So if they had two people building this, one of them was doing it the right way and the other one was putting them that way. So there's nothing to clip to on this side. You have to go on the other side of the fence and clip them. That's not the way to do it. Some of these T-posts need to be replaced. So what we use is a bucket to scoop them up. Like this is going to be too short. Some of them are decent. We may have to get them all. I don't know, Cole. We'll see.
Skid steer will save the day yet again.
Yet again. All right, what we're going to do next is I decided I'm going to go ahead and just rip these T-posts out on this, I don't know, half of the quarter-mile stretch. So Cole and I are going to hop in the skid steer, and we're going to rip these T-posts out of the ground. We might as well just start over. Like I said, some of them are facing this way, some of them are facing that way, and we can't use the ones facing that way. Plus, the T-posts that I got are a little bit taller, so it's just better to start with a clean slate. Now you can back up. Put a little tension on, don't take a lot. We're gonna use the bucket on the front of the skid steer. We use that, the blade, I guess is what you would call it, and you can catch the studs on the T-post at a low spot, and if somebody gets on the other side, you can push the force against it, and you can just slowly use the bucket to lift them up. So I don't know, we probably have 30 or something. We'll get them lifted up, and since we have our wire stretch, we can go and mark every 10 feet. We're driving these T-posts every 10 feet. And so we can use the bucket again on the New Holland to basically drive them down. And so again, you have to have two people in this situation. One holding the T-post and then the other operating the skid steer, obviously, to drive them down. So that's what we're gonna do next. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the measurements off of what Richard did. He built this fence. This is our the very first fence we built, and he did a 6 strand, which is what we're gonna do on this stretch. So I'm gonna measure his heights and go off of it, because he's a professional builder and I'm just a get her done fence builder. I know I learned a bunch of stuff from Kevin. I'm not near as good as they are, but I just basically learned from them. So that's what I'm doing. So we got about a 16, 24, 32-ish, and then he goes up 8s. 24, 32, 40, 48, and 56. All right, so now when we pull our first strand, it'll be on the bottom, and that'll give us our straight line, which means now we can go back, set our T-post, drive them in the ground with the skid steer, and then get all of that right, and then boom, now you can start stretching wire pretty quick once you get that first one set and the T-post driven in the ground. Now the fun begins, and you can roll through it.
We're in business.
Hopefully. Get it?
Yep.
Okay. About 7. Okay. These are posts I bought 200 way back in winter for this stretch here. These are 6.5 foot tall T-posts. And I only used half of them, so it's a good thing, it's nice that I've already paid for these. So I'm going to take them down here. We're going to use them on this new stretch that I'm working on. So we're working on it. Look at the hole in the ground there. Jeez. Worked out good?
Yep.
Now Cole has doing something else. He's not coaching and teaching anymore, but he had a desire to do something else, to get out and change up his lifestyle a little bit. You know, besides coaching and teaching, it can wear you out, especially coaching and then teaching alone. You do something for a long time. A lot of you may know this. You need a change or whatever, but just wanted to introduce you guys to Cole. He's a very, very, very good person, good friend, and you know, when you start doing things like this, it is always awesome to do it as a team. So he's got a great wife who's very supportive, and of course, as you guys know, I have Marissa, who's very supportive and out here with me when she can to do stuff. And so good friends, you know, you're doing something fun like this, raising the bison, and it's fun to have people part of it, and it's even cooler when you have some of your best friends to enjoy this with and do all these things with. So blessed and lucky to have good friends like Cole and him wanting to be a part of something special on what we're doing, raising these awesome animals, and that's what it's all about. So if you guys see another face on here, it is Cole. I just want you guys to know that, and I just appreciate him. And so hope you guys will have a lot more fun. It has been very quiet out here for the past several years because I work alone. 90% of what I film and do is alone, except when we handle the bison. And now I actually have some company besides Maya. There's nothing wrong with Maya, but it's nice to have somebody to talk to. Sorry, hon. No offense. But can't wait for it, and can't wait to see what the future holds, hanging out with this guy and him helping me out so much. So I do appreciate it. So hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you soon.
Oh, you biting my fingers. You biting my fingers.